Welcome back to Comic Book Straight Talk. This is Captain Dalian.
This is Eric, the Knucklehead Eaton.
And Terry, the French Tickler French.
We're going to do something a little different. Kind of give a little back history of each of us. And
it's an origin story?
It's an origin story.
All right. This could be a key issue.
It could be.
Zing.
Zing.
Key episode.
Key episode. It's our origin stories.
I think we're going to hit Eric every time he says the word zing.
I just want to hit Eric. So.
Wow. Thanks, Frenchie.
Let's start off with Eric.
My origin story.
Well, when did you get into comics? I mean,
I first got into comics, I was probably 8 or 9.
Young lad.
Where I grew up, our next door neighbors owned a Chinese restaurant here in town. And
in Tulsa, right?
Yeah, here in Tulsa.
From Tulsa.
Yeah,
okay.
From Tulsa. And they had a couple boys, and their son Alan, or was a buddy, he was close to my age. We'd always play outside, play baseball, basketball, whatever. Well, one of his sister, one time I went over there, she, in her closet, was floor to ceiling long boxes. And I was just like, what in the world?
They had long boxes back then?
Yeah. Come on, man. And
he is younger than you.
it was just packed full of comics. It blew my mind that she was so much into comics, and she starts pulling out X-Men's. To me, the cover arts on some of those X-Men's in that time period were really cool. I mean, you're talking late 200 series, early 300s, and number-wise.
Like what, late
mid-80s? Yeah, late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. Some of the cover art was really amazing. Then I started noticing there was a grocery store, Price Mart, that was pretty close to us. They had, they'd carry comics, and they had a little spinner rack. My mom would let me pick out a comic, because it was, $1.25, and we could pick out a comic, and so I would pick up a lot of X-Men issues, and I liked Spider-Man a lot because, Spider-Man's a thing ingrained to everyone. Everyone knows Spider-Man. And then they had on Fox the X-Men series, the cartoon series, which I really enjoyed that series. And that kind of got me into comics. And then I started, I would occasionally go up to the Comic Empire and check out the comics there. Getting into comics was a little intimidating first. Being one of 4, I was the only one into comics. So my brother came with me. He didn't know too much about comics. My sisters wouldn't come with me. So, when you go into a comic book store and you're younger, kid age, it's a little intimidating if you don't know really what to ask for. Whereas at the store, they were just kind of in the magazine aisle, and you could pick up different comics and look at different comics and find one that you like. So I really enjoyed, probably the X-Men series really got me into comics, which I stuck with comics for a few years. I liked comics, and I liked baseball cards also, which was fun. At the time, my mom was really into arts and crafts, and we'd always go to Hobby Lobby.
Is that one of the worst places to go to if you're not into that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it can be rough.
Kid?
Well, I always liked, they had a car model aisle, and my dad would build model cars with us, so we'd be able to pick up a model car occasionally, because they were like $9 or $10. And then, but every time we'd go to Hobby Lobby, in the checkout line, Topps baseball cards were $0.25 or 35 cents. And my mom would always buy someone, and they had the world's worst gum, but you always loved it. I mean, you popped it open, and then that brittle gum, you'd break it up, and the smell of it and all that. It was a lot of fun. So I stuck with comics for a few years, kind of dropped off of comics, and then later on in adult life, started picking up comics again. And then I kind of went overboard and started buying tons and tons of comics, and the more the merrier kind of deal. And I kind of made some list of comics that I wanted to get. So I would go out and pick up all those and try to find the best deals on them. And then I just kind of went overboard with comics. So that was kind of my origin story.
Well, and now you do, you kind of started giving back away in that way. Because you do CollectorCon.
Yep.
And you buy and sell on eBay.
Yep. Yeah, which, I think, as you grow older and the reality of life sets in, life is, of course, not easy for anyone. I mean, there's ups and downs for every adult. I mean, there's times in your life that you're on cloud 9 and you think nothing's going to get in your way, and then something, hits the fan, and, you kind of crash down. And to me, comics or whatever hobby someone's in is a nice breakaway point. You can escape reality. You can escape, going to your work or going, taxes and bills and all that stuff as far as what you've got to pay on a weekly, monthly, yearly base. And it's, for me, I do the CollectorCons just because it's nice to see a big group of people kind of enjoy their hobby.
Well, and also you give back to the community, because we were talking about a couple of shows back. You do like Make-A-Wish and Toys for Tots.
We do
like that. So
percentage of the admission to charity groups, which a lot of cons don't do. When you from my own experience, when you pick out a charity, you should do a little research. Not every charity is the greatest in the world as far as how much of the money actually goes to their cause. But I mean, if you know someone that's, facing some kind of trouble, if you can help them out and you're in a position where you can, I would suggest trying to do it. I mean, you'll always walk away feeling better about it. And, that might be the boost or the turnaround point that person needs. And, so that's kind of where I'm at now.
And you said you're out of comics now, or are you getting back dabbling since we started doing this?
No.
Are you dabbling back into it? I mean, the reading and collecting.
Collecting, I collect a lot. The reading, if I have time, because I do buy a lot of stuff and I do keep fairly busy with life. But no, I'm definitely back into it. And 2 of my kids I give them a lot of comics, and they, my girl likes Batgirl and Catwoman, and one of my sons likes Hulk and Spider-Man and some X-Men. So I give them both a lot of comics, and they're getting to the age where they can start some reading, or we'll read to them. And we picked up a Sonic the Hedgehog comic because my son likes the games, and my wife read him the book, and he thought it was awesome. And it was actually the first comic my wife's ever read. So
did she do the voices?
She attempted to change some of the voices, but it kind of went back to just the same tone. So she actually made the feat of reading a comic. So we got a comic book overload, and she finally read her first one. That is my origin story.
That's your origin.
Yep. Key issue probably starting age 8. So what about you, Captain?
Mine was 86-ish. 85, 86.
It was May 85. It was 86 degrees outside.
Well, actually, my mom wanted me to get a hobby.
You would pester your
She
mom
regrets that now.
She regrets it now. Yes. And originally,
now she just wishes she'd move out of her house. No.
Well, I moved in there for other reasons, but that's okay. I moved back. And so she wanted me to hobby, and so I came up to Comic Empire, and I've basically never really left. Yeah.
He's in the basement.
You are the reason they built the basement. They dug that hole out. They're like, we're going to put you underground.
They would go over to David's, so it was like a little Dollar General kind of thing before Dollar General came around, and get medicines and stuff. And I would go look at the spinner rack and pull the Flash of that series, the Flash second series, and pull like Justice League and stuff like that, and pick up a couple comics and kind of got into them. So I was reading more DC, but I'd pick up X-Men here and there, and Spider-Man. And on that side, my cousin collected Conans.
Okay.
And so I was like, man, I want to have as many more comics than he does, kind of thing. And that was kind of a stupid reason to do it. I realize that now, and so I realized it long ago. But
this day was the day he realized.
The day I was, no. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Spider-Man's ingrained in everybody. I've read Spider-Man and X-Men and Star Wars. And,
I do like the new Star Wars series.
When you first came to Comic Empire, as a young Dal Turley, what was your impression of Comic Empire back then?
This was back in the days when you had hair.
Wow. Thanks.
How old were you when you first came to Comic Empire?
Oh, I was in middle school.
The shop would open in 1974. That was the third customer.
Yeah. No. I was at Skelly Middle School, so I passed about 80.
Had Mike already taken over then?
Yeah. Mike was the owner. In fact, it was probably the same year, maybe a year after he took over. And it was Mike.
Was Larry still here at the time?
No, Larry wasn't
here.
Just Larry was gone. Tanner was here, so I came in. I would buy just whatever looked interesting. I mean, it was California raisins I found one day. I was digging through a box I had in the attic several years ago and looked at it. I was like, why do I have California raisins #1?
They were real hot at the time.
They were hot.
You had the little toys of them. They weren't posable.
Yeah, they weren't posable. They're like, I was doing the microphone, guys. You can't see me.
Drum guy and California raisins were they were real hot back then.
But yeah, Mike hadn't really changed much since those days.
Mike, now that was
the store hadn't really changed either.
No, the store actually has not changed. Too much.
It changed when Mike bought it. He changed it a little bit.
Right. Well, yeah, but I didn't know what it looked like before though.
Terry did. Terry knew about it.
No, I didn't.
Terry was here 2 weeks before opening day.
It was. It's always been. I've always known it to be the.
But once Mike got it the way he wanted it, it's pretty much stayed the same.
It has. I can't remember what was in the middle though. I don't remember because that was.
When Larry owned it, there wasn't a middle.
Right, but we've got the boxes up, in the middle there, and I don't remember.
Mike had those shelves specially built.
Well, yeah, they were built in the shop. So if those get taken out, it's gonna be fun taking them out. But no, I've always got my comics here pretty much. So it's gone ups and downs.
There's there's rumors that you've owned a run of Fantastic Four numerous times, probably at least 4 or 5 times.
Well, as I've said in the
7 or 8 times.
one of the shows,
9 or 10.
I've actually only I only remember having one run, but I could have had 2.
It could be a fisherman's story.
I know
remember
I had
3 or 4.
I had one run that I only needed probably 45 issues of having a full complete run of the FFs, and I just decided to let those all go.
Yeah.
So
So have you
But
had any
now
comic book dark time?
have I had any comic book dark times?
Yeah. What's the dark times of your origin story? I mean, was it one of the dark times when you got rid of that Fantastic Fours?
No, I kind of went to a time where I looked at my comics and kind of looked at them and said, you know what? I'm tired of moving them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided just to get rid of everything. Took maybe 2 short boxes of stuff, 2 or 3. And I had probably 30 short boxes.
Wow.
So I ended up setting up at cons, getting rid of those. And
There you met a lot. There at the cons, you met a lifelong friend.
right, I did.
Since then.
Yes.
Terry?
Well, no,
You?
I met
Oh.
Terry through another friend. No, I actually met the guy that I consider like one of my brothers, Jeff Brown. I met him at a Oklahoma City show, and we've been doing cons together pretty much since then. So yeah.
How do you think comics have changed your life? I mean, if you went a different direction,
Yeah.
You'd have a lot more money.
I'd have a lot more money.
you'd have probably.
But I don't think
Some
I
hair.
don't think I'd been more. I did this myself. Thank you. I don't think I would have had as big of an imagination. And as you say, it's an escape. There's times just want to relax, just grab a comic and read it.
Yeah. Are you much of a reader with books as well?
I used to be, yes.
Yeah.
I'll start a book, then I'll start reading comics, and I'll start a
Comics
book,
take over.
comics take over, or I'll start a book and the book takes over. So I haven't found that great balance yet.
That definitely helps with your imagination,
It does, yes.
which makes you more flavorful for life.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Kind of helps you relate to if something comes up. How about you, Tickler?
I was born in
1846.
1846. Now,
He had to walk 2 miles uphill
Uphill.
in the
I was
snow.
born in 1970, and I've been probably cartoons first started getting me into that genre, especially the Saturday morning cartoons.
Okay. Which were some of your highlights?
Some of the ones I really remember that I really enjoyed as a young kid was some of the Hanna-Barbera Space Ghost, Herculoids, Thundar the Barbarian, of course He-Man later on.
Did you ever wish you had the power?
Of Grayskull?
Yeah. Did you ever
I
Did
did
you ever?
I did
raise
have
your
the
hand?
power of Grayskull.
Let's hear it.
No, let's not.
Or were you a Thundercat fan?
I did watch Thundercats as a
Let's
kid.
hear your
yes.
Thundercat ho.
Thundercats. Oh,
Oh, that was
That
there
was
was no.
weird.
that was bad.
That was
was
snarf.
bad.
That
Yeah.
was snarf.
No, but yeah, the cartoons early on got me into it. Then I would just find comics here and there. My mom would, of course, go to the grocery store. We lived out in the middle of nowhere early on, and so we'd drive into town. And while she was grocery shopping, they had the magazine rack up front with the comics and stuff. So I'd usually sit up there and read through the comic books and occasionally get a chance to pick up a comic book.
That was back in the day that your parents could actually leave you there. Because I remember
Right.
sitting on the floor and just picking up comics. You could just read them, and you put it back, you pick up another comic.
Back-
Your parents could just leave you there, and you're like, I'm in the magazine aisle, and they come pick you up. I mean, now I wouldn't advise it.
As a kid,
Yeah.
I had a huge scare, though, up there by the magazine rack. This person came along and started taking the comics and ripping them, the top portion off.
Oh, yeah, for the credit.
I didn't know what was going on
Yeah.
as a young kid. I was like, well, if you're just going to do that, can I have them? And they're like, no, we got to send these off and, get our money back. And I was confused.
Now, have you ever read the story Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No, I have not.
It's a book, not a story. But he actually talks about in the book when he was a kid how to make your money work for you. And he actually did a comic book library, and he knew a person that owned a little store, and they do the rip-off things, and they give him the old stuff. And he would rent them to his buddies for like 10 cents. Him and his friend did, and that's how they made a lot of money because they had all these comics, and the cover part was torn off, but you had the whole story. That way, all his friends could get the new comic of the week, and they'd rent it from the little library and pay 10 cents, and they made a lot of money. So it's a pretty interesting story.
Cool. I didn't know that.
It's a good book. If you never read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's what I like to call a life changer. So it is the game changer book. It's a really good book.
Check that out.
Yeah.
So I'd pick up just comics here and there. I got into a lot of the House of Mysteries, House of Secrets, those type of comics. And at first when I was just a young kid, I had like a milk crate, full of comics. And I don't know what happened to that collection eventually. Once later on, my parents got divorced and moved into a small town, and there was a small comic shop there. I started collecting late middle school, early high school, I guess, somewhere around there.
Now, have you ever fallen off from collecting, or you pretty much stayed through?
During college, I fell off for a little bit,
Okay.
and but I collected in college for quite some time. Fell off for a little bit, for a few years, then came back, started collecting, came to Comic Empire, and I've kind of been at Comic Empire ever since. Collecting whatever looked interesting for the longest time.
So it seems more like you've always stayed kind of DC with House of Mystery, House of Secrets, and now you're Detective in Batman. So
I was
never
always
been
Detective in Batman. I always
Right.
collected some Detective in Batman.
never been a Marvel fan. Seems like that
No,
way.
I like Marvel. I
Prefer
didn't-
DC.
I prefer DC.
Okay.
Liked Batman the most. So
I mean, we have flaws. We all have flaws.
Yeah.
So-
I'm not, but I still collect. I go back whenever they put them on DVD and pick up those Hanna-Barbera shows and have fond memories of those.
Well, now rumor also that you rumored on me is that you have like what 10 New Mutants 98s sitting around and like 4 or 5 Amazing 129s and what a case of New Mutants 87s. Something like
He's
that?
2 cases.
2 cases. That was 2
and
cases.
then he's got
Okay.
half a case of the second print, the little gold.
Oh
cover.
yeah, the gold cover. Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't a very big fan. But Deadpool, he heard something about. And then Spidey 300, he was like, the cover looks cool. So many 300s on it. And he bought 164 copies.
I think you wanted one copy for each 300 on there. One is 300
Right.
copies.
Oh, yeah. So,
I'm just down to 2 comics of New Mutants 98, and one of those is going in on a trade. So.
Cool.
okay. Very cool. So how's comics changed your life?
Probably
For the good or for the bad?
Neither really. Probably would have more money each week.
Right.
the number of books I buy.
I mean, basically, that's why you put in overtime for comics.
I guess so.
Well, that's kind of the same reason why I work Comic Empire part time for comics.
So has it helped your imagination?
I suppose.
Have you ever pretended you're a comic book hero?
As a kid, yeah. Remember Underoos? Who didn't?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you play with a lot of the action figures?
I had a few action figures. I
like the superpowers.
I had a whole bunch of Star
Still
Wars
has
back in the
Star
day.
Wars was cool.
I'm pretty sure my grandma took those to the Salvation Army.
No.
At one point, when I was transitioning from high school to college, I was like, I don't want these things anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I would have kept all those now.
Oh man, I can remember when the
Yeah, I
movies
kept mine
came
in
out in
really
'90.
Good condition. I mean, I played with them,
Yeah.
but I kept them all in really nice.
I played mine in the bathtub when I was younger. I admit that.
See, we kept the Star Wars pretty good. And I remember in '95 when they re-released the movies, there was a lady my dad knew that would set up at the flea market, and she came out to our house, and my brother and I was 13, and my brother would have been 17. And I mean, we had, the little Ewok village, we had the little, speeder bikes, we had all the little play sets, we had all the figures, and I want to say she gave us like $600, and we thought we were the richest guys in the world. We're like, we can't believe it. And, now I kind of wish that we had a lot of those back.
What's funny is you're trying to find that. You mentioned the Ewok Village.
Mm-hmm.
For one, trying to find one that's not put together is outrageously priced.
Yep.
As a kid, I kept all the boxes, and my parents were like, "Just throw those away." And I'm like,
"See, we didn't keep the boxes.
I would like display them and stuff as a kid."
See, every night I remember when I was a kid, I had all my action figures, and I was big into GI Joes too. But GI Joes, my cousin lived next door. And he had a little wood rake in the back of his yard, and we put the Cobras inside all the little logs, and we had the GI Joes, and they'd fight them, and we'd put the Cobras, face down, and we'd scrape against the concrete. But every night before I went to bed, on my dresser and my shelves, I'd stack all my action figures. I don't know why I had to stack them, but I just had to stack them all. It was a lot of fun.
I was also big into Power Records.
See, I went into records.
Yeah, see, he's got records also. So he's records and comics.
And he likes video games.
And video games. So yeah.
But the Power Records, I had those as a young kid. They would have the Scholastic book reading events.
Okay.
And you would go to school with your money or whatever, or they'd have order forms, and occasionally they would show up with just you'd go there and they'd have tons of books, and they'd have Power Records there as well. And, Power Records had Superman and Batman, and all these different Power Records. And so as a young kid, I picked up a lot of the 45s. And then one day I came home from school, and I had a little brother, and he decided that a lot of my Power Records covers needed to be cut up into little triangles.
Oh.
So a lot of I still have the records, but no covers because they were cut up into little triangles.
I'm trying to remember.
But since then, I've got most of those back as 45s and collected the albums as well.
And you kept them away from him.
Yeah, no more little
I
triangles.
remember I used to have some of the photo discs. Like they would do like a Batman. It had like the Batman like drawn on there, and it was like you could get the book and kind of. Is that what's talking about the Power Records that those are?
Yeah. Well, they had
because one the comic in the front and the record in the back.
They had several different things. It was actually Peter Pan, who started putting them out, and then Power Records, I believe, was like a subsidiary of Peter Pan, and they would do 45s with just a record that had a story on it, and they would also do some comic book size that had a record at the back of it in the sleeve. Then they did full albums, which had a big.
See, I think mine just had the sleeve. They didn't have.
They also
full
did,
size.
They also
size,
did 33s. It was like you said, full size albums, and they would just have no booklet with it.
Right, you just listen to the story. Yeah.
Do you still listen to yours?
Occasionally,
every night.
Occasionally, you can listen to them online.
Yeah, he sits in his easy chair and turns on the one light, but it's like in 2 rooms away, so you barely see me.
They're a lot of fun. I'm trying right now to get at a decent price. These ones that came out in 1960 something, maybe late 60s, mid 60s, and they are die cut into different faces of Batman and Robin. I got the Robin one, and one is of the Joker, one of the Penguin, one of the Batmobile. They're just really cool, and then they're like I said, die cut, and then the record slides in there somehow. It's really cool. So I'm trying to get those, but those tend to go for a little bit of money. But
that's pretty cool. It's pretty neat that starting from comics, you've branched into a few other things.
Well, I've always been into music, so.
Right. I mean, you got a pretty good musical voice too, don't you?
Not that I know of.
We both role play, with like D&D, and we've done that in the past. Star Wars. We're geeky. Yes.
That's my origin story, pretty much. I guess.
With the origin story, you guys ever see yourself, or do you have those dark thoughts of ever getting out of comics?
Yes.
I actually have I took 2 years off of comics.
You did, now that was your 12-step program.
Oh yeah. I'd say I just got tired of buying comics.
But does incarceration count the same?
No. I just got tired of buying and storing the comics, so I would go online and buy them that way, and I still do it now. I read them digitally also, but the ones I really like, I'll buy a physical copy.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I just have way too many comics, and I know I can't take them with me, but at the same time, I really don't have any family members that enjoy comics, so I get them right.
Isn't Down like a third cousin once removed?
Don't I get it?
I could see me eventually selling off a lot of my comics that are don't really super important to me, but there's a lot of Silver and Bronze Age books I really do like.
You could see about maybe lying in the coffin with them.
Yeah.
Not to get morbid. I'm sorry, not to go to too dark, morbid places. But you said you
after I pass, you're probably not too far behind.
Wow.
I know. Yeah.
Wow. He's got something planned for you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm talking about a younger generation. I don't know. I don't have anybody to leave them to or then really enjoys comics. So it wouldn't matter. I guess I really don't have anybody that would guess they could benefit monetarily from them, but I don't really want to leave them to them.
Girls will be happy.
So I mean, any of our listeners, if they're younger than you, so
start
if you're born
post
1970, and they can maybe become your new best friend, and you could pass the comics on to them.
Possibly.
So there you go.
Eric's kids.
Yeah, my kids. I mean, they need comics.
Eric already has enough comics to pass on.
No, I told my wife to burn them. When I go, just burn them.
Well, you saw the video, didn't you?
She's going to call us before she burns them, right?
No.
What was the story about that? I never got the backstory about
why she was burning them?
She burned the House of Mystery?
No, in the House of Mystery. It was a Brave and the Bold.
Oh, Brave and the Bold.
Whitman
Treasury. Treasury
No, it was Treasury.
No, it was a Whitman variant.
It's just a Whitman
variant. It was Treasury size. Okay.
No, because a lot of times when I'll sell a bunch of comics, we've got some empty short boxes, empty long boxes, and we've tried to give them away, and I've given away a lot of people, or we'll trash them, or sometimes she'll put them in a big pile, in a little burn pile out back, and she'll just burn them. And when I list comics, if they're in not probably very fine or better shape, a lot of times I just give them to the kids. And she just, I don't know why, she's always wanted to burn some, so she put that in a couple short boxes and let it out.
I kind of spurred that on, because I told her of all this. We just just recently bought a collection.
Yeah.
And I told her that we were coming back with another collection.
Yeah. Yeah, she's threatened, because sometimes when I'll go a little overboard on the size of collections I try.
Not go overboard.
Well, I mean, why just enjoy one?
Recently, he ran across a collection of gloves, and just because it was a good price, he bought a huge collection of gloves.
You can't pass the deal of the day.
And he has his wife polishing them up right now.
So no, for me,
Carissa.
If you find the deal of the day, it's hard for me to pass up. So I mean, if it's a collection of 10 or 10,000, I'm going to go for it. So. And then a lot of times she always asks, where did you plan to put this?
I found a new collection of gravel the other day. He's like,
yeah, look at this.
These rocks are awesome.
Yeah.
How much?
We're in the quarry business now. So
His wife's driving the big tractor.
pushing rocks everywhere.
Question: I was talking about the quarry and the rocks. Made me think of. Remember the old Sears catalogs?
There's
Yeah.
Roebuck.
Sears
Yeah.
Roebuck and the JCPenney catalog you
Huh?
get every year if you don't get any more.
And then also the what's the other store?
Montgomery Ward's,
Montgomery Ward's.
Edison.
No, not Edison. The one that was right behind the Woodland Hills Theater. Service merchandise.
Yeah.
Yes, service merchant.
Yeah.
But you
service
don't see their
merchandise.
catalogs. You're looking in, and they have the rock tumbler.
Yeah.
But they also had like the collector's starter box for
Right.
the comics. Did
Well, they
either
also-
one of you ever get one of any of those?
I got the
No.
catalogs, and the catalogs were
Well,
like
the catalogs,
you get them
right.
just before Christmas, and it was like
Right.
they were awesome because of all the
Yes.
toys listed. in
Right,
there.
yeah.
As a kid, you were like,
Look, this
Yeah,
is
and the
new.
Toys R Us, the big book, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But no, did you ever get one of the comic collector?
I would buy
starter
some of
things
the.
out of there. I didn't know. I didn't either.
Oh,
I
it
just
would be
thought
like 20-pack of, and it'd say like collectible comics, and it'd be like a 20-pack, and it was just a bunch of just late 80s, early 90s junk, and just like,
Yeah, I remember
That's a
going
good
to the
idea.
stores young. Yeah.
I collected some cards too. I didn't. I
you never had any of that.
tested sports cards.
So you had all the
When I
Marvel
was in
cards.
elementary school, I did sports cards.
I had Kiss
Yeah,
but
cards.
not a whole lot.
Okay.
I had some Elvis cards.
Okay. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Elvis
well,
I had
cards.
$6 Million Man cards.
Andy
Well, you're a
Griffin
big
Show
fan
cards.
of those. That's
$6 Million Man is awesome.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
All right. Did you have Star Trek cards or Star Wars cards?
I did Battlestar Galactica cards.
Battlestar Galactica was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Cylon Warriors, they were pretty cool.
I remember,
Viper, awesome show.
I remember
Yeah.
for my birthday one year, HBO was showing the Battlestar Galactica movie, and so we had people come over, and had my birthday, and got to watch that at the house.
I remember going seeing Buck Rogers the movie at the theater.
Okay.
Like Flash Gordon at the Bowman Theater over off 21st. Maybe when that was the place to see
The
movies.
Bowman was awesome.
They had because you had the bass, boom, 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 flash, and that thing would just vibrate when the Vipers took out in Battlestar Galactica. Yeah,
I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark there.
So
I saw that in Temple of Doom.
with
Last one I saw there.
a lot of these origin stories, it brings up a lot of good memories that are kind of connected to comics. With Empire, do you see a lot of newer generation, younger kids? You think it'll repeat itself?
I see some people bringing their kids in, yeah. And usually if I'm working, I try to, you can pick a quarter book out. I'm like, I ain't going to charge you for a quarter.
If
I
Mike
try-
listens, he charges for a quarter. He never gives away free stuff. So
Just, it's just, sometimes, it's just, because I want those kids, to come back.
that's just the thing I worry about. You guys, OVCon's going on this weekend?
Next weekend.
No, it's this
It's
weekend.
this weekend.
This
remember?
coming weekend.
No, it's this
It's
weekend.
this weekend.
It's this weekend? That's
Yes,
right.
It is this weekend, yes.
Anyway,
Well, it's probably over now, but yeah. Or is it Saturday and Sunday?
yeah, it's Saturday and
Saturday
Sunday.
and Sunday.
Yeah, okay. So if you're listening to this early Sunday morning,
Hit OVCon. But a lot of those collectors were big into the 4-color stuff. We're big into the Dell stuff. We're big into, a lot of the Archie, Jughead, Betty and Me, Betty and Veronica, Reggie and Me. And you don't see. I'm not a fan of any of those. And a lot of them like pre-hero stuff, some of the early Tales of Astonish, Tales of Suspense, Strange Tales, and some of the House of Mystery early stuff and Strange Adventures. And you see that generation's kind of passing on, and then we'll kind of group ourselves in the same generation. We're more of a superhero generation. The thing I worry about now is the relevance to younger children now. If it'll carry the kind of strength
I think it
behind it.
depends on the parenting.
I think so.
My girls, I've said before, Heather, my youngest, is a big Loki fan.
Uh-huh.
So I've got that, the book to pass that she has that kind of we hers. And Christy, they both read,
Okay.
and so I think it really depends on the parenting. If
I don't
the
see
parents are
comics
into the
going
comics,
out.
then the kids, kind of, hey, like your kids will probably
Right.
grow up to
Yeah,
read
they'll enjoy
comics.
it. And,
Either that or despise
or
them,
they'll
one of
hate
the
them.
two.
Yeah, they'll love them or hate them. Oh, too many. So that's the only thing I'm a little worried about. I don't see comics as a whole going away, but also from me, being a big baseball card collector when I was younger, and even early adult life and mid-adult life, baseball has dropped off so much.
Mhm.
And that was America's pastime. You can talk to older people and, bring a baseball, and the warmth you feel coming off of them talking, relating a story. Oh, and when we were kids, we went to this Yankee Stadium, or, we got to see the Cubbies play, or whoever.
I was there when they didn't let the goat in, and they haven't.
Yeah, I remember when the Dodgers were in Brooklyn, stuff like that. And, that carried for, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, so 40 plus years. And now it's pretty much died off. I mean, there's some card collectors, but they're quite a bit older.
Right.
A lot of kids now don't
that's
collect cards. And that's the thing I'm a little worried about, but I think Disney is doing a good job with Marvel as far as getting people interested.
Mm-hmm.
It's primarily done through the movies, but hopefully some of those kids are picking up some of the comics.
But they're like, hey mom, I want that Spider-Man shirt. Okay. Hey mom, that's this trade here. It's Spider-Man. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's so much more things to do now. And
I mean, everything's more electronically different.
And a baseball card is two sides with some stats and a picture.
Yeah. I understand.
Well, yeah, I mean, I remember.
It's always been two sides.
I can remember back in elementary school, kind of, with the football cards.
Coins.
We were like, hey, I got this guy, you got this. We would do trading, but hey, what? You would look at Tony Dorsett stats compared to Mean Joe Green stats, you know. And so, I mean,
that's my only fear with comic, that you'll see some dying off, some of the appreciation leaving. And, now if Marvel introduces a character that's cooler than Punisher, some of, like take Spider-Man 129, some of that collectability going down. Because, if you go to an older collector and you're like, this is the first appearance of Andy Panda, you go to a current collector, they're like, who cares? Older collector's like, I'll pay $1,000 for it or whatever. But a new collector's like, I won't give you $5. Mm-hmm. So that's my only worry. So it's some of the oversaturation of the 90s with comics is kind of rearing its head now. Could hurt, but hopefully it won't. Hopefully comics stay pretty hot for as long as I need to.
Well, our origin stories really got morbid, didn't they?
Well, no, I mean with every origin you got to see the whole timeline. You see he starts all happy go lucky. Peter Parker started happy go lucky.
I got rejuvenated with the Rebirth. I loved all that stuff, and I still like it, but it's kind of starting to take a toll every 2 weeks of stuff. But I'm still enjoying the books. So I mean, now I can sit up here at Comic Empire when I'm covering on Saturday and read them, and so that's what I kind of do.
Are you ready for another reboot then?
No. I don't want another reboot for a long time.
Please.
Reboot will get him out. Captain Dalian will leave.
Yep, I'm out. Nope. Mic drop.
But hopefully everyone's origin story is, no matter what time in their life they got into comics. Comics are a good escape. Some comics are completely, left field mythical and mystical and magical and all that. And some are actually, pretty close to reality. But whatever your flavor, hopefully it's a good break. Hopefully it's a good little timeout for.
And you enjoy them.
To enjoy them. I mean, it's entertainment. I mean, you can't take your money with you.
Now he's going to step back on that morbid track.
No. It's a good break. It's a good break. Use a break.
Go buy comics. Period.
Comics.
Okay? Go buy comics.
You're online. Buy comics.
While you're at it, checking out the episodes. Won't you leave us a little information about your origin?
Yeah, we need to hear some origin stories.
Comics.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
If you came to Comic Empire, tell Comic Empire to. No stories about Captain Dalian, though.
Plenty of stories about Captain Dalian.
No. Yeah. I have decided. If you've ever been
to Comic Empire, you've probably seen Captain Dalian.
You probably have. I have decided that.
He's the bald. One of the bald guys.
One of the bald guys. I've decided that all my comic stories will be revealed upon my death at my funeral. Going back to morbid. Con stories, comic stories, all that. To be laughed at, and
Terry, that's a day we got something else played, right?
Yeah,
we missed out on that.
We've already laughed at you.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, just that's
It's a daily basis.
I know it is, but those stories can be revealed, and everyone can laugh and have fun at that. So yeah, definitely leave us some feedback.
Give us your origin
stories. Like I said, if you've come in here and got a story about the shop or something, except without Captain Dalian in it.
Yeah.
Maybe
you ran. I know.
If you can remember the people who worked here, John Russell, you do not count. Neither does Charles Brock. You don't count, you two. But if you can remember the people that worked here, besides Mike,
or if you've ever been in any kind of garage sales, I know a few people. The first time they ever met the Tickler, he was at a garage sale. If they
eating breakfast with the people,
I mean, the garage sale opens at 8. He's there at 5:30. Surprisingly, he's got a couple of eggs for him and some toast. Hey guys, I brought you breakfast. Can I look at your comics?
Keyword.
Origin?
Origin.
Origin. I like
Yeah.
it. You like it, Tickler?
Origin's good.
Origin's
Okay.
good. Yeah. So like it, like the Facebook page, comment the keyword.
Share it.
We'll do a drawing
Subscribe.
the next show. We'll do a drawing to this show.
You're giving away more stuff?
I-
We're giving away more stuff. It's
Holy moly.
it's the season, guys. Come
Tis
on.
the
I mean,
season.
it's
Captain.
Christmas is in the stores.
Oh, my.
Let's just
This way it brightens your mood. So tonight when you watch The Walking Dead, you're lifted up and then you're kind of let down and you're a little sad.
Do we still have stuff to give away?
I got
Captain
plenty of
Nyan-
stuff. In fact, you know
Captain
what? I'm
Nyan
going to
still
give
has those
I'm
two
going to give
short
a
boxes.
comic book set. to
Comic
somebody.
book set. There goes one of the short boxes.
Completely random comic book set.
Okay. Do we know what set it is?
We're giving away something now?
Right.
Who's our lucky winner? Alan Wilkinson was last week.
You can't win again.
Nope. Gary Malsby was week 4. Who is it, Captain?
Chris
Dunnigan?
Dunnigan. Thank you. I
Wow.
was trying to think of how to
Wow.
pronounce his last
Chris
name.
Dunnigan.
Yeah.
You get a comic
Didn't he
book
win?
set?
When did he win already? Once?
No, that was
No.
Gary.
That was several weeks ago.
Gary Allen.
No, it was
Gary?
Gary?
Yeah.
Gary won and
Wow.
Alan
Gary
won.
Allen.
So yeah.
Not the
Congrats,
singer,
Chris.
but Gary
Not the
Allen.
singer,
That's
yeah.
2 people.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chris,
Sorry,
you
didn't
won. So
What's he
come up.
win?
A comic book set.
Comic book
I've
set?
decided what comic
To
book
be
set yet.
determined. TBD.
Tell me if you want an image set or an
I
independent
know he
set,
likes
a
a-
Marvel
He
set.
likes Submariner. Or Submariner.
I don't have any Submariners,
Namor?
sorry.
Yeah, Namor. He likes Namor.
But yeah, if it's a Marvel set you want, a DC set or an independent set, just
I think
Any
Chris,
set?
Chris likes
set comic sets.
Any set.
He likes Punisher.
Like
He loves
Punisher.
Punisher. He loves Punisher.
Well, okay. I'll see
So
what Punisher
his
sets
set
we
would
got.
start with, 129 Spider-Man,
The
135.
Tickle will give that one away. He's got several of those now. But yeah,
Annual
I
4.
wish I had.
I'll have your setup at Comic Empire.
Very cool. Congratulations, Chris.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
swing by
I'll
Comic
let you
Empire.
know when it'll be here.
So that's 3 winners. 3
winners.
weeks.
I know.
All they had to do, it cost them nothing.
Yeah.
Type the
You
mystery
have to listen
word.
to us.
Well, yeah. I mean, they had to open up
That's
their ear
time they
holes.
could never get back.
Yeah, suckers. No.
And don't forget, December 3rd,
December 3rd, CollectorCon's
at,
coming up.
at the
We're doing the American Legion for the year anniversary. We like the Legion. Our March show will be at a different place, a larger venue.
we're not discussing that one yet, though.
Right. And it will be a multi-day show. But if you can make it out to the show, it should be a lot of fun. It looks like we're going to have 8 writers, authors, artists that have done a lot of comic book work for Image, Marvel, DC. So check out the CollectorCon page, share the event. Should be a lot of fun. I think we're going to do some Toys for Tot Drive stuff, which we'll probably announce next show or show after. It'll be a lot of fun. So it's a good show that everyone you see truly enjoys the hobby. Make sure you check it out. I'm Eric the Knucklehead.
Terry the French Tickler French.
Captain Dalian.
All right. Thank you for your time.